Let's go ahead and call the meeting to order, please.
Regular meeting of Washington, Missouri City Council, November 20th, 2017, 7 p.m. Brinker.
Here.
Heidrich. Holtzmeyer.
Here.
Oheski. Patchke.
Here.
Warnya.
Here.
Zollentrup.
Here.
Waterman. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will all the council members answer if they have or have not read the minutes of the council meetings dated November 6th and November 13th, 2017? Brinker?
Yes.
Holtzmeyer?
Aye.
Oheski? Patke?
Yes.
Skornia?
Yes.
Zollentrup.
Yes.
Having read the minutes, are there any questions or comments? Any corrections?
Motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion by Brinker, seconded by Holtmeyer, to approve the minutes from our last meeting dated November 6th and 13th, 2017. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve the minutes. Thank you.
Approval and adjustment of agenda, including consent agenda. On your consent agenda, you have the change order for Gateway DCS Riverfront Trail Expansion Asphalt, the final pay request for Gateway DCS Riverfront Trail Expansion Asphalt, and a final pay request for KJ Understall Construction to remove and replace the sidewalk at 4th and Lafayette.
Okay, any questions about these items?
Yeah, I got a question, Darren. I saw we're 440 feet over. How does that come out?
From when we did the original layout of the trail back when we applied for the grant, during that time frame to the time that we went out there to put the actual asphalt, we had to change some of the course of the trail a little bit to go around some trees, so we didn't have to take out some trees. So that's the difference in that.
Is it in the circle or is it on the trail?
No, it's through the trail, through the woods, through those areas.
440 feet's a long ways.
And again, we already had the trail laid out, and we should have known that when we went out to bid, but we missed that the trail changed from its original length.
Who did the preparation
For
for the trail?
the base rock, or for the engineering, or which
Yeah.
part are you
Did
asking?
engineering do it?
What essentially occurred was we went out there and the original trail design work, we laid it out essentially on paper without notifying exactly where like the large cottonwood trees were. So as we progressed through there, it meandered around those trees. So it was actually in the radius of the trees is where we lost it. So when we went through and actually wheeled everything off to figure out what the change order was, we noted that the trail was approximately 400 foot longer, which is a pretty substantial amount. But it was meandering around the tree. So you didn't lose the asphalt. The trail is actually longer than what was initially anticipated. So it's not like it was gone. It's just, it's a longer trail.
You also talked this morning about rolling the edges.
In addition to that, the base rock, since there is no curb and gutter obviously on the trail to cap the edge, I made a decision to cap the base rock on the edges because as the water comes up, portions of the trail will be underwater at some point. So I wanted to keep the moisture as much as I could out of that base rock to secure the longevity of the trail. So we actually capped the base rock with asphalt, roll the edges off, it caps over, and it creates, a more impervious surface on the edges. So that's where the over tonnage was.
Although the overall cost of the asphalt was up, our overall cost for rock is down, so there still is an offset, and all this is covered through the grant funds that we received.
Any other questions or comments? Any other items on the consent agenda? Okay. Need a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Brinker, seconded by Holtmeyer, to approve the items on the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve the items. Thank you.
Priority items, mayor's presentations, appointments, and reappointments. Police Department reappointments.
We have 2 reappointments this evening to the Police Department. The first one is Detective Kevin Blackburn, and the second, Patrol Officer Michael Wisbaum. And both of those appointments are for the usual 1-year length.
Yes.
So, Chief, do you have any comments?
Both are exemplary officers, veteran officers. As come to expect, the city can be proud of those 2 officers, and they are all of them. So I request their reappointment.
Okay, any questions by council members?
Make a motion. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Holtmeyer, seconded by Padkey, to approve the reappointments of Detective Kevin Blackburn and Patrol Officer Michael Wisbaum. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you approve the reappointments. Thank you.
Citizens' comments.
Is there anyone here tonight who would like to address the council on any item that is not on the agenda? Okay.
Report of department heads. Request to move forward with the server project.
I can cover that. Robert wanted to go ahead and get the letter within your packet. He went out for bids with regards to 3 new servers. This is within the budget. You will have an ordinance presented to you at the next meeting, the first meeting, it looks like, in December. But he wanted to go ahead and share this information with you and put that within the packet.
Any questions about that item, the bids?
Good. Motion to accept in the minutes.
Okay, we have a motion by Padkey, seconded by Brinker, to accept this item into the minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you accepted the item. Thank you.
Energy audit letter of intent.
Darren?
I'm going to let this Darren go ahead.
Okay. As you may be aware, we went out for a request for proposals with consultants to do the look at our city facilities and do an energy audit, as well as look at some other issues with our buildings. We narrowed down that field down to 2 companies that came in and interviewed with our committee, and the committee has selected CTS Group to do that. Basically, entering into a letter of intent, there is no obligation on our part, but just an intent to move forward. And within 90 days, they will come in and do audits of all of our facilities and come back with us with a list of things that they propose for us to move forward with on projects. Now, these projects can be phased in over time as we look at it at the cost of money, and some of these things might be worked into the half-cent sales tax on our larger projects.
Any comments or questions?
Are they going to do every building?
They don't go ahead. I mean, they don't have to do every building, but I mean, they'll be at whatever direction we give them.
Right now, all companies, when they came in, they did a walkthrough basically of all the facilities here. You know, the library, city hall, public safety, looked at the auditorium, the pool, the parks maintenance facility, and there's certain ones that we did want them to focus on, but that doesn't limit us from not looking at any other facility as we move forward.
For example, they didn't go through any of the fire stations, so we can ask them to go ahead and take a look at that as well if we want to, but it's basically at our discretion.
Any other questions? Entertain a motion to accept into the minutes.
Make a motion. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Holtmeyer, seconded by Padkey, to accept this item into the minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? By your vote, you accepted the item. Thank you.
Ordinances and resolutions. An ordinance approving the sale and delivery of refunding certificates of participation, City of Washington, Missouri, lessee, Series 2017, the proceeds of which will be used to pay the costs of refunding certain outstanding lease obligations and authorizing the execution of certain documents and actions in connection therewith.
Holtmeyer.
Introduced by Councilman Scornia. So this is the refunding of the certificates for the, everybody's
Series
nodding. Yeah, Series
2012.
2012, now to renew
Correct.
those at 2017, to reissue those. with a savings to the city
Correct.
of quite
Do
a
we
bit.
have a better?
Do we have a better
Michelle
number?
Bach is here with Piper Jaffray, and so is Mark Grimm with Gilmore and Bell.
Good evening. We are estimating the savings with current interest rates to be about $900,000 over the remaining term of the certificates of participation. We won't know for sure until we actually have the bonds sold on or about December 6th, but we will certainly report back and let you know how it goes.
Okay.
And this ordinance allows the underwriters to move forward and sell the bonds subject to the parameters that are set forth in that ordinance, and then sign documents afterwards.
Okay. Any questions by council members? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
An ordinance approving the sale and delivery of refunding certificates of participation, City of Washington, Missouri, lessee, Series 2017, the proceeds of which will be used to pay the cost of refunding certain outstanding lease obligations and authorizing the execution of certain documents and actions in connection therewith. Brinker?
Yes.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Hettke?
Yes.
Moheski?
Aye.
Solentrup?
Yes.
Scornia?
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a memorandum of understanding between the Office of State Courts Administrator and the City of Washington, Missouri, Information Technologies, Inc., the Circuit Court of Franklin County, and the City of Washington Prosecutor.
Solantra.
Introduced by Councilman Solentrub.
This is in furtherance of our transition from sending cases through our own municipal court to sending them to the Associate Circuit Courts over in Union. We actually have a meeting tomorrow morning with Judges Williams and Hoven and with the Circuit Clerk Bill Miller and a couple of his deputy clerks. We're already doing some of this, what our responsibilities are. We're not transferring tickets yet electronically, but that'll start January 1. And then they'll submit written tickets or written copies to me. I'll sign them, send them over to the courts, and then the charges will get issued. ITI, I think, has already provided its support. I think that's right. Either they have done it or they're in the process of doing it. We've approved an agreement with them. So that's really all this is.
So anything that's pending now just transfers over to there?
Right.
When will we stop holding court here?
December, well, our last court date here will actually be the 19th, I think the 19th of,
December.
the third Tuesday, the 19th of December. Yep.
18, or 19.
Right. That'll be the last court night here. Court will exist until the 31st, but starting January 1, everything will have to go over to Union. So.
And do we still get part of the fine and court costs?
You still get the fines and you get a portion of the court costs. You don't get all of it. Some of the fees, like the fingerprint, I forget what it's called, the security.
The inmate fund, the post-training fund.
Right,
It's all set by statute?
right.
We get those?
Right.
We get those.
Continue to receive those.
So the county then does all the bookkeeping and then submits that to us?
Right.
Okay.
The start date isn't exactly specified, it just says XX day of November.
We've, by ordinance you adopted earlier this year, you abolished the municipal court effective December 31. The Office of State Courts Administrator has that as well. And the same ordinance was provided to the circuit court, so everybody understands that's the start date.
All right.
Okay, Mary?
And as asked previously, we can get a report at the end of the year on what we collected there and what it would have been if we would have kept it here.
Yeah.
We'll ask Mary that question at the end of the year, right?
The fine money is
Is
going to be the
the
same.
same.
Gonna be the
It's not
same.
going to be any difference. The only difference will be in the amount of court costs because you won't collect 100% of the court costs like you used to, but you'll still collect those band-aided fees.
Right.
So the fines, I mean, they go up and down. They're not exactly the same year to year, but there won't be any difference in the fine money that you would receive if you ran the municipal court here or if you're sending tickets over.
Could I throw something at you?
We're not paying a judge and a clerk then, right?
Correct.
Also, since it's the circuit court to state court, the Supreme Court rules about municipal courts from Ferguson does not apply.
Yeah, wasn't gonna mention that, but since you did, yes. The caps on the total, right now, there's a total cap of $225 fines and costs that can be assessed through the municipal court on moving violations, that kind of thing. Those caps will no longer apply. In addition, there's a cap on the total percentage of revenue you can receive from fines and costs. I want to say it's 10% or 7%. We've never come close to it, but that doesn't apply either. So we'll go back to the old rules, which were up to $500 fines and costs.
But the judges set those fines. So.
That's right.
Okay, any other questions?
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a memorandum of understanding between the Office of State Courts Administrator and the City of Washington, Missouri, Information Technologies, Inc., the Circuit Court of Franklin County, and the City of Washington Prosecutor. Brinker?
Yes.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Patke?
Yes.
Woheski?
Aye.
Sullentrup?
Yes.
Scornia?
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance accepting the bid from Truck Center, Inc., Troy, Illinois, and to approve the purchase of a 2018 tandem axle dump truck by the City of Washington, Missouri.
Brinker.
Introduced by Councilman Brinker.
Anybody had any questions on that? It's, we're replacing, we've got two tandem dumps, an 87 and a 90 model, and they are just a mess. They won't even pass the safety inspection, so we shouldn't even be taking them on the street. One of them stays at the landfill all the time, and the other one's at the recycle center. So we just got to get rid of them.
Are you gonna trade them in, or?
They wouldn't take them. No. We're buying off the state bid to start with, but
Okay.
yeah, they didn't want no interest in them.
These also for plowing? No?
No.
Won't be.
They're used by the Parks Department, use them, Water Department use them just for hauling asphalt, rock, anything like that.
Any questions or comments?
We're just buying one, right?
We're just buying one.
Okay.
We were trying to get two of them replaced, but we just didn't have it.
Right, okay.
Couldn't
We
swing
keep
it.
saying them, and I was confused that we was,
Only because we haven't decided which one we're going to try to get rid of.
Gotcha.
It's-
thank you.
The lesser of two evils, I guess.
One runs better, but it has a hole in the bed, so everything falls through. So on the other hand, you know, there's a couple things like that.
There's a couple sitting down on Market Street you can use if you need to.
Well, every time I take it to the recycle center, they keep telling me one day you're just going to give us the keys and recycle it out. So,
Cool.
All right.
Thank you, Tony.
An ordinance accepting the bid from Truck Center, Inc., Troy, Illinois, and to approve the purchase of a 2018 tandem axle dump truck by the City of Washington, Missouri. Brinker?
Yes.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Patke?
Yes.
Woheski?
Aye.
Sullentrup?
Yes.
Scornia?
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance approving amendment number 19 to the development plan for acquisition of an industrial tract commonly known as the Elmer C. Heidman Industrial Park, providing for the sale of a lot to Magnet LLC.
Petke.
Introduced by Councilman Patke.
This is just the standard ordinance amending the development plan that we have to do anytime there's a sale of a lot in Heimer Industrial Park. It is for Lot 12 for Magnet, so if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. All right, thank you.
An ordinance approving amendment number 19 to the development plan for acquisition of an industrial tract commonly known as the Elmer C. Heidman Industrial Park, providing for the sale of a lot to Magnet LLC. Brinker?
Yes.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Atchkey?
Yes.
Woheski?
Aye.
Zollentrup?
Yes.
Scornia?
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
An ordinance approving, or an ordinance providing for the approval and acceptance of minimum improvements for maintenance for the villas at Weber Farms subdivision in the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri.
Patke?
Introduced by Councilman Patke.
This is the ordinance officially taking over maintenance for the streets on the extension of Rabbit Trail as part of the villas of Weber Farms. We will be, provided that you pass this ordinance, we'll be taking over snow plowing, the sanitary sewer, there's a lift station there as well. We are requiring to have a 20% maintenance bond for the total cost of the improvements for 2 years as per city code. So, for any questions, I can answer them.
Any questions of John?
Did you do a walkthrough of the road?
Yeah, yep, we have, in addition to doing daily site inspections that I've been mandating with our staff, we did a punch list inspection as well. So the only thing that we are outstanding, which the city does do, is we still, I believe, still need to put up the street signs. But the city essentially puts up street signs, and then we bill the contractor for that work, and that's standard procedure.
Okay.
But we've done a walkthrough. We did the entire punch list inspection, popped all the manholes, made sure everything was in good shape, so I'm comfortable with requesting to take it over.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, John.
An ordinance providing for the approval and acceptance of minimum improvements for maintenance for the villas at Weber Farms subdivision in the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri. Brinker?
Yes.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Atchkey?
Yes.
Woheski?
Aye.
Zollentrup?
Yes.
Scornia?
Yes.
By your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
Commission, committee, and board reports. Preliminary plat approval, Front Street Development, Plat 2.
Sal?
Yep, this is Phase 2 of the Front Street Development LLC project. Obviously, there was the TIF that was approved back in February of this year. So this site is the corner of Market and Front Street. If you remember, in February, we also vacated this portion of the Front Street right-of-way, and you'll see that reflected on the plat. It is Zone C3, so it does match the lot sizes they're going for, and as well as the zero lot line. So here's the plat that was submitted. You can see has 4 lots. There'll be 4 townhomes. If you notice, they're oddly shaped. They're what we call flag lots. And the reason being, the code requires right-of-way frontage for all new lots. And since we vacated Front Street and that wasn't an adequate right-of-way anyway, since there's no real access, they needed to have all of the right-of-way be along Market Street. So if they just went straight back with standard lots, they wouldn't have the right-of-way frontage needed. So that's why you see these L-shaped to get them the right-of-way frontage. They'll all have Market Street addresses. It'll be 2468 since it's the first block. You can see this hatched area in the back where all of the lots kind of share it is a cross-access maintenance agreement and parking agreement, just like we did on Rhine River and on the new developments happening right now. It is noted on the plat there'll be no parking because it is a fire lane. Nope, that's all right. And it'll also, there's also note down there that it's maintained by the property owners as well. Something else I want to point out, this hatched area up front is, it has a note here as a 25-foot vacated right-of-way per ordinance, and that was in February. We originally, when we vacated that, agreed that we could just do the 25 feet, since 50-foot right-of-way, the 25 that goes into the property owner to the south. It would all just be a easement for water and sewer and any maintenance that needed to be done. But with this new plat, there will be stairs that come off of this, all 4 units, that would encroach in that easement. Now, we actually do allow stairs coming off of to encroach that actually a building permit would have been able to be issued, but just to avoid any future complications with any work over an easement, we talked to Kevin Quatham with Public Works and realized that they really don't need the full 25 feet for any potential work they need. The water line that runs back there is a little bit deeper, so it may require more than 10 feet, but he was satisfied with 20 feet. So you'll see a note on here, it says 5-foot utility easement to be vacated. That's because originally it was 25 feet, so we're going to vacate this area in between the two dotted lines to just give back to the property owner and get out of an easement altogether. That way there's no confusion with the stairs, and then we'll remain this 20-foot easement, 20-foot utility easement dedicated to the city of Washington. And that should be enough room for any maintenance we may have in the future. If they decide to do gates up here, these will be kind of backyards. If they do any type of fencing, there will be gates in between. And there is 25 feet here that will remain as you see it today. So if there is a hydrant over here off of the old Front Street right away, so if it needs to be accessed, there's a chance they could go to the north, but if it needs to go through, there will be gates. And even if, just like any fence in our easement, we don't have permits for fencing, so we allow you to build them, but if they need to be taken down for any utility repairs, that is at the risk of the property owner. So other than that, all the easements are shown that we need. The vacation is shown, and then they also have the parking agreement, so we are recommending approval. So, and it does match what the development that was agreed upon as part of the TIF. So.
Is this zone C2?
C3. C3. So, I'm sorry, I don't have a zoning map. This lot is zone C3. This lot, it's actually two lots to the south, which is also owned by the same developer, different property, different company name, but you'll see that will be at your next meeting to rezone this to C3 as well. So if you saw a rezoning coming, that was what that was for. That's coming next at the first meeting in December.
So is there any, the shared flag part of the lots, is that going to be a concrete driveway, shared parking? Say that again?
Yeah, so this will be, and I can let Andy go into a little more detail, but
and
nope, it'll be the same as, there's just like a cross-access easement for Rhine River or for what he's building now at the Front Street condos, but that was the best way to get the right-of-way frontage that needed to be done.
Well, you explained it so they have an address in Market Street. I get that. And will eventually, are we looking at another stub street there? Is that a cul-de-sac? Nope. Is that nothing?
This will be nothing. So this is only 130 feet long, so a fire truck can pull in and back out. 150 feet is when you actually have to have an approved turnaround. So this will just be basically a parking lot. It won't be a street. I think originally we discussed having a Market Spur come out of here and this would be a private street. We backed away from that because in reality it would still look like with the garages coming right off of it and it being a private street, still maintained by, or even if it was a street maintained by if it wasn't private, it was maintained by the city, it would essentially appear that we would be maintaining a parking lot. Sorry, this is just better. It's not going to go anywhere. There's, a home here and also a topographical grade, a change. You wouldn't be able to extend that road, so. This
Right,
is
yeah,
essentially just a
the
parking lot.
elevation is a lot different from the end of this lot to the beginning of that lot. That's-
Yes, yep.
There garages in those units? Is there garages in those units?
Yeah. Andy Understall from Front Street Development. And there's a two-car garage right there in this little square. Each of them has a two-car garage, and then there's 20 foot outside the garage door for an additional 2 cars to park. And then this is a 26-foot wide, it's really not alley, I guess it's a private street, we would call it. And we also are adding an extra fire hydrant back here in the back too. We're sticking an extra hydrant here because it's actually easier to get to this hydrant if you had to, get up this hill. There's kind of a hydrant that's like Sal said down in here that you can't really get to. It's for a house that's kind of off to the east, I guess is what it was taken care of in the past. So, but we are adding an extra hydrant in there just to make sure that we're covered. So, and then on the front, the reason we're asking for that is the 5 foot there, all these are held up about 5 foot to 6 foot out of the ground. And we know we're going to have steps on every unit. And we're trying to keep the front of the property in line with down Front Street. If you're looking down Front Street, Ed's building, Speckles, and what we're building now, everything will line up with that property line. We're not going to build on it. We're just going to, build on, behind the property line, but there'll be stairs off the deck coming down, landing on that area. So we don't create any problems in the future that way. So. And if they want to fence the yard, they can still fence the yard, but like I said, it would have like 12-foot gates. And we know, and I'll also put in the homeowners association that if they would have to remove the fence for any reason to do the utilities, it'd be on the owner, they'd have to take care of that. So make them aware of that. And that's about it. We're hoping to break ground sometime middle of December on this next 4 down here, so.
Any questions of Andy?
Okay. Thank you.
Sounds exciting.
And I just want to point out one more thing. When he mentioned the hydrant, I thought of, there is a final plat ordinance immediately following this, and there is a performance contract attached to that for the placement of this hydrant and the new water line. So that's there was a cost estimate in your packet, and that's what that cost estimate was for.
Okay. Anything else?
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Holtmeyer, second by Patke, to accept this item into the minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you accepted the item. Thank you.
An ordinance approving a final plat of Front Street Development, Plat 2 in the City of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri.
Holtmeyer.
Introduced by Councilman Holtmeyer. This is the ordinance that follows the previous item. Any questions or comments?
An ordinance approving a final plat of Front Street Development, Plat 2 in the City of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri. Brinker? Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Patke?
Yes.
Ohesky?
Aye.
Sullentrup? Scornia?
Yes.
By your vote, you, excuse me, by your vote, you approve the ordinance. Thank you.
Historic Preservation Commission Annual Report.
This is the annual report that we have to submit to the state every year for being a certified local government for the Historic Preservation Commission. It just summarizes every certificate of review we gave out, every training session that anyone on the commission has gone to, and any awards that we give for whether it's creating new history or a new plaque or a curb appeal award. It's something that we're required to do to be eligible for any grants. So, if you have any questions.
A lot of work in there.
Yeah, there was a lot going on this year. It's good. So.
Yeah, it was a busy year.
It's a book.
Well, and we put the application for the, if you remember, our first local landmark designation for the cemetery. The Oddfellows Cemetery was in there, so the whole application, we submitted that to the state just to know that process exists. So that kind of lengthened the packet. So.
But that's good. I mean, it's a lot more than we used to have in there.
Right. So.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of Sal? Okay, thank you. We'll need a motion to accept this into the minutes.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Patke, seconded by Holtmeyer, to accept this item into the minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? By your vote, you accepted the item. Thank you.
Mayor's report.
Just a couple of things. Tomorrow is our annual Thanksgiving luncheon. We'll be serving lunch here in the council chambers from 11:30 to 1. So if you are available, please join us. Everybody will just come and go as the time goes on. So different departments at different time, but just join us. This past Monday was, past Thursday and Friday is when I went to Charlotte. It went very well. I had a nice presentation, a PowerPoint presentation that I presented to Washington. They were very impressed with our community and what we've all accomplished, so that went very well. And next Monday evening, I think Darren's going to talk about the forum that we're going to be having in conjunction with the capital improvement sales tax. So, and happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your holiday. So, thank you.
City Administrator's report.
Yes, as Sandy has said, the mayor said we will have, first off, the Capital Improvement Sales Tax Committee will be meeting tomorrow at 1 o'clock over at the Public Safety Building. Due to the lunch being in here, we're going to move it over to the Public Safety Building in the basement. That starts at 1 o'clock. The committee will be hearing presentations from the library, downtown Washington. I believe the Fair Board is also going to have something there. And the Legion, thank you. American Legion was the last one too, because they've got some proposed improvements that they'd like to see at Runzick Field. So all of those entities will be there. We will also be discussing the results so far of what we have with our survey that's online and the comments that we've received. And then we'll discuss a little bit about the format that the mayor alluded to. So next Monday on the 27th from 5 to 7 p.m. we will have council chambers open. People will be able to go ahead and come in. We're going to have the survey available for them. They can either do it in written format if they like, or if they want to go ahead, we'll have some laptops set up so they can just do it online if they wish to go ahead and do it that way. Or if they have any questions from staff, we'll have key staff people here to go ahead and be able to answer questions about past performance or some of the future projects that are being discussed. So that's all I have.
Council comments, meeting time change?
Yeah, well, brought this up last, we were just in conversation last week, and I said, well, let's just put it on the agenda to talk about it, whether we want to keep our meeting times the way they are right now. Unfortunately, without Susan here and Mark here, it's probably not a good evening to talk about that, because I think if you're going to do something like that, you need to have everybody's input on it. So I don't know if you guys want to move this back. I think the consensus was that some people, and not all, and again, just the messenger here, but would we rather go to a 6 o'clock meeting or a 6:30 meeting? Is it too early or too not? You know, so it's basically just a conversation to see what everybody wants to do or if they even have interest. But without these two here, it's.
Susan contacted me today and expressed that she was not interested in moving it. I think she said that last week.
And I don't know about Mark.
Yeah, I've not talked to Mark.
So we can continue the conversation
I
at the
will.
admin meeting
Yeah,
next
admin,
Monday
just-
if everybody's
Right, just
in attendance.
to firm up and see what everybody wants to do.
Yeah, I think we need to make sure that our meetings are convenient for
Everybody.
everyone.
Sure.
You know, I think that's important if you have people who are traveling back and forth to St. Louis to work. So you want them to be able to attend since we are open.
Also like to congratulate the Washington soccer team for finishing second in the state. That's a very big accomplishment, so publicly congratulate them.
Okay. Very good. Anything else?
Yeah, Tony, I got a call from some people today on West 8th Street, and they said they called the office and wanted to get some leaves picked up, and the girls told them that they're not doing it until December. Is there anybody that can go around and probably hit these piles that are piled up around town? Because
We have been, we've been doing it all week. I think that they misunderstood because the ladies at the office said somebody's called in for a special leaf
Come up
pickup
to the-
to have the leaf vacuum.
Tony, you want to, hey, Tony, why don't you come up to the podium?
Sorry about that. Yeah, I think they misunderstood. They thought the residents were calling in and asking, can you send the leaf vacuum to my house today to pick up my leaves? And they were like, no, but we'll be going through the whole town, and we have been doing it all week. And they may have even been over there today.
well, should we be telling people it's going to be the day that their trash gets picked up?
No.
So it's just anywhere, anytime.
It's starting on the east. Starting Monday, we'll be starting on the east side of town, and we'll be working our way to the west. Once we've hit every street, we won't be going back.
I know that the scheduled time was, what, December 8th? You're going to start it up again?
It's the November 27th, Monday.
Okay.
And we'll be doing it for 2 weeks.
Okay.
But we have been out throughout the week hitting piles. I know you've probably seen them out there today
Yeah, I've seen
working.
them out there, but they said they called there, and I went, well, I said, I think they're going to pick it up around your area during your trash day.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It just doesn't coincide. So go from east to west. If you think last year we went from west to east across town, so we just mix it up.
All right, thanks.
Anything else?
Did you want a closed session?
Yes, we have a couple items.
City Attorney's
I wait
report?
for her to go ahead.
Public vote on whether or not to hold a closed meeting to discuss personnel, legal, and real estate matters pursuant to Section 610.021 RSMO 2000. Brinker?
No.
Holtzmeyer?
Aye.
Patchkey?
Yes.
Moheski?
No.
Solentrop?
Am I the last one?
No.
You voting for me?
No, you asked a question.
Yes.
Scornia.
Yes.
Okay, getting closer every time.